Marcus Hale parked his old, slightly beaten-up hover car in front of the apartment complex. The building looked ordinary from the outside, its pale blue paint slightly faded by years of sun and dust. Nothing about it suggested that tonight, something extraordinary would happen. Marcus had come for a simple job, a favor for his best friend Daniel. Daniel's younger sister, Rhea, had a water heater that had gone on the fritz, and Marcus, being a starship engineer on leave, had some spare time. Fixing a water heater was easy, or so he thought. He grabbed his tool bag from the car, the familiar weight of his spanners and diagnostic scanners giving him a sense of comfort. Human hands had an instinct for fixing things, and Marcus had spent enough time on starships to know that no machine was truly unfixable. He smiled to himself as he approached the door, thinking about how different this task would be from recalibrating warp engines or repairing cryogenic units in zero gravity. Rhea answered the door before he could knock. She looked smaller than he remembered from his last visit, as if the stress of work and long nights had taken a toll. Her hair was pulled back in a loose braid, and she wore a simple jumpsuit that looked functional rather than fashionable. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Marcus," she said softly. "Thanks for coming. The water heater. It's acting really strange." He nodded and stepped inside. The apartment smelled faintly of ozone, something he had learned to recognize during his engineering days. It wasn't a smell associated with water heaters. Not normally. He raised an eyebrow but didn't comment yet. "Do you want something to drink?" Rhea asked, her voice quiet, almost hesitant. "Just water is fine," Marcus replied, setting his tool bag down in the small kitchen. He liked Rhea. She was smart, practical, and curious, just like her brother. But tonight, there was something in her expression that made him pause. She seemed nervous. As he followed her to the utility closet where the water heater was located, she said, almost in a whisper, "Please, don't let me stay up alone tonight." Marcus stopped in his tracks. "Rhea, what do you mean?" She shook her head, looking down at her feet. "It's nothing. Just, can you stay until it's done?" Marcus hesitated. He had thought this would be a simple repair. But humans, he knew, often faced the unknown in small ways before confronting the big challenges. And right now, Rhea was scared. "All right," he said finally. "I'll stay." The utility closet was cramped, barely large enough for two people to fit comfortably. The water heater looked ordinary at first glance, a cylindrical unit of brushed metal with pipes running into the walls. But as Marcus activated his portable diagnostic scanner, the readings made his eyes narrow. The heater's core was fluctuating in a way that was unusual, far beyond a normal electrical problem. He bent down, running his hands over the outer casing. His fingers traced faint scorch marks, almost like something had tried to force its way through the metal. He frowned. "This isn't normal," he murmured. Rhea came closer, her eyes wide. "I told you it's acting strange. Sometimes it hums, really loudly, and then the lights flicker." Marcus nodded. He had noticed the flickering earlier. Humans were good at ignoring small problems until they became bigger, but he had a habit of noticing things, especially anomalies. He had fixed machines that should have been beyond repair, machines that humans had long given up on. Something about this water heater was different. He opened the panel and examined the wiring. Nothing looked broken at first glance. But then, his scanner picked up faint electromagnetic pulses. They weren't consistent with normal household currents. The pulses were small, almost imperceptible, but deliberate. Like a pattern, someone or something was trying to communicate. Marcus straightened up. "Rhea, have you noticed anything else? Anything unusual?" She hesitated. "Sometimes, late at night, I think I hear voices, or maybe signals. I don't know. It's probably just my imagination. Marcus raised an eyebrow. Humans often underestimated what their senses could pick up. He had learned that time and time again, on distant worlds. Sometimes the small, easily ignored details were the first signs of something far greater. He decided to run a deeper scan, linking his portable analyzer to the building's power grid. As the machine hummed to life, the readings spiked briefly, then dropped. Something was interacting with the heater's energy field, but it wasn't coming from inside the apartment. It was outside. "Rhea," he said carefully, "I think there's more going on here than a broken heater. Are you sure you haven't noticed anything strange around the building?" "Are you sure?" "Rhea." She swallowed hard. I've seen lights. Strange lights. Moving across the sky. Sometimes they hover, then disappear. My colleagues think I'm imagining things. I didn't want to worry Daniel. Marcus's heart rate quickened. Humans had always been curious, inventive, and resilient, but they also had a natural instinct to ignore the extraordinary until forced to face it. Rhea was clearly on the edge of noticing something extraordinary. "Okay," he said, trying to keep his voice calm. "We'll figure this out. I just need to finish inspecting the heater first." He climbed a small ladder to reach the upper parts of the unit, carefully examining the connections. As he did, the humming grew louder. A low, resonant sound that made the hairs on his arms stand on end. He had heard hums like this before on distant colonies, where the human settlers had encountered residual energy fields left by ancient alien machines. Humans were not the strongest species in the galaxy. Not the fastest, not the most durable. But humans had something else. Adaptability. Ingenuity. A refusal to let problems go unsolved. Marcus knew that whatever this was, humans would figure it out if they approached it carefully. He adjusted the analyzer and focused on the readings. A pattern was emerging in the pulses, almost like a rhythm. He frowned. It wasn't random. It was deliberate. Someone or something was sending a signal. "Rhea," he said, turning to her. "I need to know everything you've noticed. No detail is too small." "One." She nodded, her fingers twisting nervously. "It started about a week ago. Lights in the sky, the humming, the heater acting up. And sometimes I get dreams. Dreams that feel like messages. I don't know what they mean. I just don't want to be alone at night." Marcus studied her face. Humans could endure amazing things when they had help, when someone stayed with them. He realized he had been called here not just to fix a water heater, but to provide that human presence, that human advantage. "I'll stay," he said again. "All night if I have to. We'll figure this out together." Rhea let out a breath she didn't realize she was holding. She sat down on a chair nearby, her eyes fixed on the heater. Marcus returned to the unit, carefully examining every wire, every panel. The humming grew louder as he worked, but now it felt less threatening and more like a puzzle waiting to be solved. By midnight, Marcus had traced the source of the pulses to a small, hidden compartment within the heater. He opened it and found a tiny device, no bigger than a human palm, glowing faintly with an ethereal light. It was not a human device. The design was unlike anything he had ever seen, with intricate patterns that shifted subtly under his gaze. "Rhea," he said, his voice low, "this isn't a normal heater problem. Someone, or something, has been trying to communicate, and it's choosing your apartment." Her eyes widened. "Why me?" Marcus shook his head. "I don't know. But humans have a way of facing the unknown. We adapt. We learn. And sometimes, we're the only ones who can solve certain problems." The apartment was quiet now, the humming from the device, a gentle pulse that filled the room. Marcus glanced at Rhea. She was scared, but she was also human. Humans were brave when it counted. She would survive this night. Together, they would face whatever was coming. Marcus sat down next to her. The water heater, the strange pulses, the mysterious device, they were just the beginning. Tonight, humans would prove once again why they were remarkable. Not because of strength or speed, but because of curiosity, courage, and the refusal to leave someone alone in the dark. And so, under the faint glow of the strange device, Marcus and Rhea waited. The night was long, the unknown vast. But humans were unstoppable when they stood together. The night deepened outside the apartment, and the city hummed with its usual mix of distant engines, blinking lights, and soft winds between buildings. Inside, Marcus and Rhea sat side by side, the faint glow of the mysterious device in the water heater, casting shifting shadows across the walls. Neither spoke for a long time. Words felt unnecessary when the unknown pressed close, almost tangible. Marcus finally broke the silence. "I need to understand this device," he said, keeping his voice calm. "From the readings, it's sending signals, but not in any human language. Whatever created it, it's intelligent. Too." "Again," Rhea nodded. "I felt it before, when I first noticed the humming. Like it was trying to tell me something. But I didn't know how to listen." Marcus leaned closer to the heater, adjusting his portable analyzer. The device pulsed in rhythm, with a frequency he had never encountered on any starship or planetary station. It was subtle, almost musical, but beneath it lay layers of complexity. Someone, or something, was reaching across space or dimensions, attempting to communicate. "Do you think it's an alien?" Rhea asked, her voice small, almost fearful. Marcus didn't answer immediately. Humans had met aliens before, and not all encounters had been hostile. But this was different. The device wasn't a weapon. Its signals weren't aggressive. Whatever it was, it seemed like a call for help. "Possibly," he said finally. "And if it is, it's in trouble. We need to be careful." Rhea shifted uneasily. "I've been scared all week. At first, I thought it was stress from work. But then, the lights, and the humming. I wasn't imagining it." Humans often doubted themselves, Marcus thought, even when their instincts were correct. But human instincts could also be incredibly sharp. Rhea had noticed something others would have ignored. That meant she was capable of understanding more than most. And humans, Marcus knew, could achieve amazing things when they worked together. The device pulsed again, and suddenly, the air in the room felt heavier. Marcus noticed the readings spike dramatically. Something was approaching. "Rhea," he said, eyes narrowing. "We're not alone tonight." Her eyes widened. I thought I was imagining things." He shook his head. "No, you're right. Something is coming here." The walls of the apartment seemed to vibrate subtly. The glow from the device brightened, almost as if it sensed the presence of an approaching entity. Marcus instinctively placed himself between Rhea and the heater. Humans were not the strongest, but humans were adaptable. They could think quickly, improvise, and use tools to level the playing field. A sudden shimmer appeared near the window, a translucent outline that flickered in and out of existence. Rhea gasped. Stepping back, Marcus raised his hand in a calming gesture. "Stay calm. We don't know if it's dangerous. We'll figure it out." The shimmer grew clearer. Within moments, a small, fragile being hovered just inside the apartment. It was translucent, almost like glass, and its form shifted subtly, as if it weren't fully solid. Its eyes, if they could be called that, reflected intelligence and fear. The being emitted soft pulses, which Marcus instinctively recognized as a form of communication. Telepathic, perhaps, or psychic. Rhea stared, speechless. It's real. It's here." Marcus approached slowly, his engineering instincts telling him to observe, not panic. Humans were cautious around unknown life forms. But humans were also curious, and curiosity often led to survival. The being pulsed more rapidly, and Marcus felt a sudden message in his mind. Help! They are coming. Protect. Do not leave alone. Rhea clutched his arm. It's talking to you. Or to me. Marcus realized that the device in the heater was a beacon. It had guided the being here, perhaps for protection or assistance. Whoever or whatever was coming had been tracking the signal, and now they had found this apartment. Rhea, listen to me, Marcus said firmly. We need to help it. Whatever they are, they're not friendly. But humans, we're good at thinking fast. We can handle this. The air outside the window rippled. Shadows moved unnaturally along the walls, and the building seemed to hum with energy. The threat was close. Marcus grabbed a metal rod from his toolkit and tapped into the apartment's electrical panel. He could use the building's energy to create a localized electromagnetic pulse enough to disrupt machines or sensors without hurting the fragile visitor. Rhea watched him, wide-eyed. You're going to fight them? Marcus shook his head. Not fight. Humans don't always need to fight. We improvise. We solve problems. The shimmer outside intensified, revealing the shapes of multiple biomechanical drones, sleek and angular, with sensors that glowed like red eyes. They were coming for the small being. Marcus's pulse quickened. He had seen combat drones before, but never this close, and never outside a starship or a colony defense grid. But humans had survived worse. Humans had survived the void of space, the collapse of colonies, and first contact encounters far more dangerous than this. He directed a pulse of energy from the heater's wiring, channeling it into the metal rod, then into a loop around the room. The devices outside the window flickered, their sensors momentarily confused by the sudden surge. One of the drones faltered, and Marcus knew he had bought just enough time. Rhea, despite her fear, joined him. What do I do? Stay with the being, Marcus instructed. Help it stabilize. Keep it calm. Humans have an advantage. They can comfort others when danger arrives. That counts for a lot more than brute strength. Rhea nodded, focusing her attention on the fragile alien. She extended a hand, letting it hover near the being. The creature pulsed in response, its glow shifting from pale blue to soft green, as if recognizing the human's intention to protect. The drones pressed harder against the apartment, their limbs scraping against the walls. Marcus adjusted the pulse generator, fine-tuning the energy to disrupt the drone's sensors without harming the fragile visitor. Sparks danced along the floorboards, and the apartment shook slightly, but the pulses worked. The drones hesitated, scanning, confused by the human ingenuity. Humans were not invincible. But humans were smart, and that intelligence had saved countless lives across the stars. Marcus felt a surge of pride, not arrogance, but certainty. Humans could solve problems that seemed impossible. The being pulsed faster now, a signal of gratitude or relief. Rhea whispered, "It's okay. We're here. We won't let them take you." Marcus nodded. Together, they formed a human shield around the visitor, not with armor or weapons, but with attention, focus, and determination. The drones made one more attempt, pressing against the window. But the combination of human strategy and improvised technology held them back. Time seemed to stretch. The night outside the apartment became a mix of shadow and light, the glowing alien device in the heater casting long, wavering beams across the walls. Marcus and Rhea worked together seamlessly, instinct and training guiding their actions. The drones retreated slightly, their confidence shaken by human adaptability and improvisation. Finally, after what felt like hours but was only minutes, the pulses from the drones began to falter. The alien being pulsed brighter, its form stabilizing. It hovered in the center of the room, no longer trembling. Marcus allowed himself a moment of relief. Humans had faced the unknown before, and humans had succeeded. Rhea exhaled shakily. We did it. Marcus smiled faintly, though he didn't relax entirely. Not yet. We've only delayed them. Whoever sent these drones will come back. But humans don't give up easily. We adapt. We improvise. We protect. And that gives us an edge. The alien pulsed again. And Marcus felt another mental message. Brief and clear. Thank you. You are safe. For now. Rhea looked at him with wide eyes. Do you think it will be okay? Marcus nodded. Yes. For now. Humans can solve problems when we work together. That's why we survive. And why we protect each other. And tonight, we've done both. As the first hints of dawn crept through the window, Marcus and Rhea sat in silence, the alien pulsing softly between them. The city outside had returned to its ordinary rhythm. But inside the apartment, something extraordinary had happened. Humans had faced the unknown, and they had prevailed. And Marcus knew that whatever challenges came next, humans would continue to face them with the same combination of intelligence, courage, and determination that had carried them across the stars. Tonight, a fragile alien had found safety. And in doing so, Marcus and Rhea had reminded themselves why humans were remarkable. Not because of strength, not because of speed, but because of ingenuity, adaptability, and the refusal to face the unknown alone. The first rays of dawn barely touched the city skyline, casting long shadows across the apartment walls. Marcus and Rhea had barely slept. Their makeshift guardian, the fragile alien being, hovered gently near the heater, its glow now a soothing, soft green. But neither of them felt safe. Marcus knew the drones weren't gone, they had only retreated. Whoever had sent them would come back, stronger and smarter. Marcus. Rhea's voice trembled slightly. Do you think they'll come again tonight? Marcus crouched beside her, examining the alien with a careful eye. They will. But we have an advantage. Humans think fast, adapt, and use tools creatively. We've kept it safe once. We can do it again. Humans weren't the fastest creatures, nor the strongest. They weren't designed to face cosmic threats without help. But humans had something else. Ingenuity. And Marcus intended to use it. The alien pulsed rapidly as though sensing his thoughts. Its glow brightened when Marcus reached out and touched its shimmering form. It was fragile, almost like liquid crystal, yet intelligent. The device in the heater, Marcus realized, wasn't just a beacon. It was also a stabilizer, maintaining a small protective field around the being. Without it, the alien might not survive the approaching threat. Marcus quickly devised a plan. The drones had been thrown off by his improvised electromagnetic pulse yesterday, but this time he needed something stronger, something permanent. Humans had an advantage: creativity under pressure. He opened his tool bag and pulled out a portable power regulator from his Starship toolkit. With a few tweaks, he could reroute the building's electricity, combining it with the water heater's power coils to create a much stronger pulse. Rhea watched as he worked, a mixture of awe and fear in her eyes. Do you really think this will work? She asked. Marcus gave a small nod. It has to. Humans survive when we act fast and think clearly. Improvisation is our strength. This is just another problem to solve. The sun barely peeked over the horizon when the first warning signs appeared. Shadows flickered across the apartment walls, bending unnaturally. Marcus's sensors spiked with readings. The drones were approaching again. This time, they were coordinated, moving in a precise pattern that indicated intelligence. The apartment trembled slightly as the energy outside increased. Rhea's hand found Marcus's. I'm scared, she whispered. Marcus squeezed her hand gently. Good. Fear is useful. It makes you alert. But we won't face this alone. That's the human way. The air shimmered near the window. The dimensional rift that the drones had used yesterday began to form again, small but growing quickly. The alien pulsed brighter, almost like it was warning them. Marcus didn't hesitate. He rerouted the power, connecting the water heater coils to a loop around the room, creating a temporary electromagnetic trap. The drones appeared, glinting metallic bodies with angular shapes and glowing red sensors. They moved like predators, silent and precise, scanning the apartment for the alien. Marcus activated the loop. A surge of electricity ran along the metal rods he had positioned, creating a disruptive field. Sparks danced along the floor, and one drone faltered, its sensors flickering in confusion. Rhea stood behind Marcus, her eyes fixed on the alien. "It's trusting us," she said softly. "We have to protect it." Marcus nodded. Humans had a natural ability to protect others, to stand together in impossible situations. That instinct, combined with their cleverness, often gave them an edge over creatures stronger or faster than they were. The drones pressed harder. One slammed against the window, shattering a small pane, but the energy loop held them back. Marcus adjusted the pulse, focusing it on their sensor arrays. The machines faltered again, jerking and spinning in confusion. The alien pulsed rapidly, almost like cheering them on. Marcus realized that it wasn't just relying on them, it was cooperating, sharing its energy with the loop in subtle ways. Humans and allies, even alien ones, could achieve amazing things together. One of the drones attempted a direct entry through the balcony door, and Marcus reacted instantly. He pulled a secondary pulse generator from his bag and aimed it, releasing a sharp jolt that forced the drone backward. Humans were fast thinkers. They could act decisively when the moment mattered most. Rhea's voice broke the tense silence. "Marcus." The dimensional tear grew larger, shimmering and unstable. Through it, more drones appeared, their metallic forms moving like a coordinated swarm. Marcus's mind raced. He couldn't just rely on energy pulses. He needed a plan to close the rift itself. He grabbed the alien device in the water heater and began examining it more closely. The alien pulsed, transmitting a clear signal. "Close. Stabilize. Now." Marcus understood. The device could create a temporary seal, but he needed Rhea's help. "Rhea!" he shouted over the hum of energy. Her hands trembled as she touched the device, and Marcus guided her. Humans could coordinate in ways machines often couldn't. Using a combination of her touch, the device's energy, and his power rerouting, they formed a small, stabilizing field around the rift. The drones hesitated as the space around the tear began to warp back in on itself. One particularly large drone lunged directly through the field. Marcus acted without thinking, channeling every bit of the water heater's power through the metal loop. The pulse struck the drone, and it convulsed violently before being drawn backward into the closing rift. Rhea gasped, clutching the alien device. It's working." The rift shrank quickly, the remaining drones caught in the collapsing space. Sparks flew. The building shook, and Marcus held his ground, focusing every ounce of his energy on the pulse. Humans could endure the unknown with courage, and he was proof. Finally, the rift collapsed entirely. The drones were gone. Silence filled the apartment, broken only by the faint hum of the alien device. Marcus exhaled, wiping sweat from his brow. He looked at Rhea, who was pale but smiling, relief shining in her eyes. We did it," she whispered. Marcus allowed himself a small smile. "Yes, humans have a way of facing the impossible and surviving. That's why we're remarkable. Strength isn't always in the body. Sometimes it's in the mind and the will to act." The alien floated gently between them, its glow softening. Marcus felt its gratitude, subtle but undeniable. Humans had protected it, and humans had shown it something vital. That even in the face of overwhelming odds, courage, ingenuity, and teamwork could prevail. Rhea looked at Marcus with wide eyes. "Do you think it will be okay now?" Marcus nodded. "For now. But humans always prepare for the next challenge. That's our advantage. We adapt, improvise, and protect each other. Tonight, we've proven it." The apartment was quiet. But Marcus knew this was only the beginning. Whoever had sent the drones would return eventually, but humans would face them. Humans didn't flee from threats. They met them with intelligence, courage, and creativity. Rhea reached out and touched his shoulder. "I was so scared. But you stayed. You didn't let me face it alone." Marcus smiled faintly. "That's what humans do. We protect, we endure, and we never leave someone alone in the dark." The alien pulsed gently, as if echoing his words. It wasn't just a creature they had saved, it was proof of human resilience, their ability to confront the unknown and prevail. As sunlight spread over the city, casting a warm glow across the apartment, Marcus realized that humans were remarkable not because of strength or speed, but because of their minds, their courage, and their hearts. Humans survived, humans protected, and humans triumphed over the impossible. And tonight, Marcus and Rhea had done exactly that. The morning sun spilled golden light across the city. But Marcus and Rhea didn't move immediately. The apartment was quiet, almost peaceful, yet both of them knew that peace was fragile. The alien hovered softly near the water heater, pulsing in gentle rhythms. Its glow reflected on the walls, casting an otherworldly shimmer. Marcus studied it carefully. Humans weren't the strongest or fastest beings in the galaxy, but humans had something else: ingenuity, courage, and teamwork. Tonight, they had proven it. Rhea leaned back against the counter, her hands trembling slightly. "I still can't believe we did it," she whispered. I thought we were going to fail." Marcus smiled faintly, wiping sweat from his brow. "Humans rarely fail when we work together. We adapt. We solve problems. That's why we survive. That's our advantage." The alien pulsed brighter suddenly, and Marcus felt a mental vibration, a message. "They will come again. Soon. You must help me return home." Rhea's eyes widened. "It wants to go home?" Marcus nodded. "Yes. And we can help it. Humans have a way of fixing things. Not just machines, but situations. And this is our chance to do it again." The first step was understanding the device in the water heater. Marcus studied it carefully. Its surface shimmered like liquid crystal, shifting colors subtly. Humans had learned to interpret energy patterns in alien technology, and Marcus relied on that knowledge now. He could feel the logic in the device, the flow of its energy, and he began rerouting the apartment's power systems to interface with it. Rhea watched in fascination. How do you know what to do?" Marcus chuckled softly. "Experience. Humans are good at noticing patterns. We improvise when we don't have instructions. We survive because we think." The alien pulsed faster, as if encouraging him. It floated in midair, its form fragile but purposeful. Marcus realized that the device could amplify its energy enough to open a stable, controlled rift. If they synchronized their efforts, they could send the alien home without risk. Rhea moved closer, placing her hands on the alien. "I'll help. I can do this part. Can't I?" Marcus nodded. "Exactly. Humans are better when we cooperate. You focus on stabilizing it. I'll manage the energy." They worked together, human ingenuity paired with instinct and courage. Marcus adjusted the energy flow, rerouting it through the water heater coils and apartment wiring. The room hummed with power. The alien pulsed in response, creating a feedback loop. Rhea focused on maintaining its stability, concentrating her mind on the gentle signals it sent. Time stretched. The air shimmered around them, and faint ripples appeared near the window. Marcus adjusted the energy loop again. Humans could endure long, tense moments. They could act decisively when the moment required it. Suddenly, a surge of energy flashed outside the drones had returned. Marcus's pulse quickened. He had anticipated this. Humans didn't wait for threats to overcome them. They acted. Subslash. Dargand. He activated a secondary pulse, targeting the drone's sensor arrays. Sparks flew along the metal rods, and the drones faltered, their coordinated patterns broken. Rhea's eyes widened. "They're coming faster!" Marcus didn't flinch. Humans weren't the strongest, but they were clever. "Keep focusing on the alien," he instructed. "I'll handle them. Humans are good at multitasking when it matters most." He released a sharp electromagnetic pulse, forcing the drones to stagger backward. The alien pulsed brighter, responding to their combined efforts. Rhea maintained her connection, her hands hovering near its fragile form, stabilizing it as it began to resonate with the energy from the apartment. The rift grew slowly, shimmering like liquid glass. It was stable, almost perfect. The alien hovered at its center, pulsing with anticipation. Marcus and Rhea exchanged a glance. Humans excelled when they understood each other and worked together. This was another proof of that truth. One of the larger drones lunged at the rift, attempting to intercept the alien. Marcus acted instantly, directing another pulse at its sensors. The drone convulsed and was thrown backward, its systems scrambled by human ingenuity. Rhea's grip on the alien remained steady. Humans had patience, focus, and adaptability traits machines often lacked. Finally, the rift stabilized fully. Marcus checked the energy readings one last time. "It's ready. Go." The alien pulsed once, sharply, then accelerated through the rift. A moment of tension hung in the air. Then the rift closed, with a gentle shimmer. Silence returned to the apartment, broken only by the faint hum of the water heater. Rhea sank into a chair, exhausted. We did it," she whispered. "It's gone home." Marcus nodded, smiling. Humans survived, humans protected, and humans solved the impossible. That's what makes us remarkable. The apartment was quiet, but Marcus could feel the subtle after effects of the alien energy. The device in the water heater had stabilized. The drones were gone. For now, peace had returned. Humans were not invincible, but humans were resourceful, intelligent, and brave. Those qualities had saved the alien tonight. Rhea looked at Marcus, a mixture of awe and gratitude on her face. Marcus shook his head gently. "Humans often feel fear. But we also have courage. We act, we protect, and we solve problems. That's why we survive. And that's why we help others. You helped too. Humans do better when we work together." The alien's energy had left a faint shimmer in the room, like a gentle reminder of the night's events. Marcus understood that humans would face more challenges, more unknowns, in the vast universe. But humans had something special, an ability to adapt, to improvise, to overcome. Rhea smiled faintly. "Do you think it will remember us?" Marcus grinned. "It already has. And so have we. Humans may not be the strongest, but we leave a mark. That's what makes us remarkable. That's why we survive and thrive." The morning light filled the apartment fully, washing over the walls and the familiar furnishings. The water heater hummed normally now. The strange alien device, fully integrated into its system. Everything seemed ordinary again. Yet Marcus knew that the universe was far from ordinary. Humans had faced something extraordinary tonight, and had succeeded. Rhea stretched, exhausted but relieved. "I can't believe a water heater could save a life," she said. Half joking, half awed, Marcus chuckled. Sometimes, the simplest things become extraordinary when humans apply their minds and courage. Never underestimate human ingenuity. She laughed softly, the first genuine smile she had shown all night. You really mean that, don't you? I do, Marcus said. Humans survive because we think, we act, and we protect. We improvise, and we never let someone face the unknown alone. That's why we matter. The alien device had vanished from the heater, leaving only a faint glow in the corner, a sign that the being had safely returned home. Marcus and Rhea looked at each other, knowing that this night had changed them. Humans were not the strongest, not the fastest. But humans could face the impossible and succeed through intelligence, courage, and collaboration. Rhea finally rose from her chair. I think I understand now. Humans really are amazing. Marcus smiled. We are. And tonight, we proved it again. Not with weapons, not with brute force, but with brains, courage, and teamwork. The city outside continued its rhythm, unaware of the night's events. But in this small apartment, something extraordinary had happened. Humans had faced a threat from beyond, protected a fragile life, and triumphed. And Marcus knew, as he packed his tools, that humans would continue to face the unknown. They would survive, adapt, and protect. That was their nature. That was their strength. The universe was vast, strange, and often dangerous. But humans had a secret advantage, the ability to think, improvise, and act when it mattered most. And tonight, Marcus and Rhea had reminded themselves of that truth. As the morning sun climbed higher, Marcus stood by the window, looking out over the city. Humans were small in the universe, but their courage and ingenuity made them extraordinary. They would continue to face the unknown, not with fear, but with determination. Humans had survived impossible challenges before, and they would continue to do so. And somewhere, across the stars, the small alien being that they had saved pulsed gently, remembering the humans who had protected it. It had found hope in their courage, just as they had found pride in their humanity. Humans were remarkable. And tonight, Marcus and Rhea had proven it once again.